going to have a look now at converting fractions into percentages. But first of all, we need to understand what a percentage is. So percent means part of or part out of 100. So like century, you'd have 100. Centurion, you'd have 100 soldiers in the Roman army. So percent means out of 100. So if we have a look at 37 over 100, that's 37 out of 100. So if you imagine that you have a big bag of Smarties, 37, you've got 100 Smarties and 37 of those are yellow. So we're working out what percentage of that bag of 100 Smarties is yellow. So to do this, we've got 37 over 100, so that is already out of 100. So that answer is 37%. Similarly, if we have a look at this one, we've got 53 over 100. So our work's already been done for us, because remember, percent means part of 100. So we know that 53, so if we go back to the Smarties, 53 of the Smarties are yellow, and there's 100 Smarties altogether. So the percentage of yellow Smarties in that bag of 100 is 53%. Now you won't always have easy fractions like that with 100 as your denominator. So we've got 8/10 here. So if you imagine we've got a really long chocolate bar. We want to eat 8/10, but we want to work out what percentage of the chocolate bar I'm eating. So we've got 8, 4, 5, 6, 7. 8 of that chocolate bar I'm going to be eating. Now to work this out as a percentage, you need to imagine that the whole chocolate bar is the 100%. Because you can't get over that. I can't eat more than what there is of the chocolate bar. I wish I could, but I can't. So what you need to do is you need to try and get the 10 on the bottom to 100. So we times that whole fraction by 10, because that is actually equivalent to 80 over 100. And now, as we know, because percentage is however many out of 100, we know that that is now 80%. So I'm eating 80% of this chocolate bar. Now imagine that I'm eating 2/5 of a chocolate bar. So now we don't have 100 as our denominator, and we don't have 10 as our denominator to times it by 100. So we want to try and get 100 on the bottom again. So what do we need to times 5 by to get 100? If you want to take it step by step, we could find 10 first and then find 100. So to find 10 first, we're timesing each of these by 2, aren't we? Which would then give us 4 over 10. We now want 100 on the bottom, so we're timesing this fraction by 10 to give us 40 over 100. And now we've got a fraction with 100 as our denominator. So we know that I am eating 40% of that chocolate bar. So if we go working out these fractions into percentages. So we've got 75 over 100, 2 over 10, and 1 over 5. Remember, we want to try and get 100 on the bottom because percentage is out of 100. Have a look at the top one then. So we're already out of 100 because we've got 75 over 100. So we would just write 75%. The next one, we've got 2 over 10. So we want 100 on the bottom. So we want to times that by 10 and times that by 10. So you've got 20 over 100, which would be 20%. And finally, 1/5. So we want to get 100 on the bottom. Now you might have skipped a step, so you might have just times it by 20, because that would give you 100 on the bottom. But if we break it down step by step, we're timesing it first by 2 to get 10 on the bottom. Then we're timesing it by 10 to give us 100 on the bottom. So that will give us 20%.